Go ahead and get started and welcome everybody. I'm Craig Peterson, ESUCC Cooperative Purchasing Director. And today we have with us Securely that will be providing a demonstration of a multitude of their products. But one of the things I want to mention is we're in the current process of renewing Securely for the next year. And that renewal is available in the ESUCC marketplace. If you're not familiar with that, we have some resources available on our website, www.neesucoop or neesucoop.org, and under resources. And so if you want to go there, you can look and see how to find that securely, or reach out to me, craig.peterson@esucc.org. Or give me a call at 308-995-0665, and we'll get you directed on how to get into the marketplace and how to place those orders. But today we have with us Teresa Reeves and Greg Hall. They'll be providing an introduction and a demo. So I'll, at this time, turn it over to Teresa.
Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for joining everyone this morning, actually afternoon. I'm Teresa with Securely. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for Nebraska. With me is my counterpart, Greg Hall. And today our focus is going to be to really bring up to speed the school districts on the call on what Securely is doing from a filtering perspective in our K-12 districts, as well as do a focus around student safety. So a quick reminder for those that are not familiar with Securely, we are founded in 2013, a cloud-based filtering solution that also does a focus within the student safety aspect of what you guys are doing in your districts. This includes detection for bullying, self-harm, and violence, as well as providing a robust filter for both your on-premise and off-premise devices, regardless of device. What we'd like to focus on today is my counterpart, Greg Hall, our senior student safety consultant, to talk really about what we've been doing in the last year or so regarding to further complementing our solutions with student safety, as well as bring you all up to speed about some exciting news with Securely that includes our acquisition of a company called Tech Labs, which is a K-12 focused classroom management tool, as well as an MDM solution that we are happy and proud and excited to present to you today. A little bit about Greg, just to kind of start with a quick introduction. He's a K-12 senior safety consultant, been working with districts for several years. And prior to joining us here at Securely, he was actually servicing as a principal at a high school in North Carolina. Over 20 years of education experience with a passion for student safety. So with that, what we'd like to do is do some quick housekeeping. We'd love to keep this a collaborative call today. However, what we'd like to do is keep everybody on mute until the end of the session. And then we're going to open it to about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. So with that, I am proud to hand off to Greg Hall. Greg?
All right, thank you, Teresa, Craig, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon and for including us in this call. So, what I'd like to cover with everybody is just kind of a review briefly of some of the core features within the filtering product itself that are under that student safety umbrella, and then extend into some additional features within the filtering and additional products that we provide that are all really built around the idea of providing appropriate supervision and subsequently giving you the ability to provide appropriate intervention and engagement for students in the online environment, and so, or the digital environment, really, I should say. So when we think about where we've come in education over the past decade, as students are on devices more and more often, oftentimes throughout the entire school day and at home, it's really become incumbent upon school districts to provide appropriate supervision for this new environment that they're providing students and asking students to enact within. So as I speak about these different features or resources within the filter or in conjunction with the filter, I always like to keep in mind just the idea of early warning systems and the importance of identifying students who are at risk early so that appropriate intervention can take place, and the necessary or necessity for providing supervision throughout every digital environment that we provide for students. So just like as educators, it's ingrained in us, right, from very early on, the importance of supervising students not only in the classroom, in the hallways, and the cafeterias, because it will minimize the instances of impulsive and possibly bad behavior that gets kids in trouble. But it also allows for adults to intervene at the first signs of trouble, and we have that in our DNA, I think, as educators. The question I struggled with as a principal when we went one-to-one with 2,000 Chromebooks was, how do we scale that? How do we provide those same good principles of supervision to that digital environment as well? And Securely has some really interesting ways to help you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and let's kind of take a look at some of these key points. So let's talk, when we talk about the digital environment and what Securely helps you supervise and identify instances of support that students need within, we're really looking at sort of two halves. So the first is the internet side, websites, searches a student does, perhaps any social media posts they make. And then the second half of that is going to be email. Email communication, docs, photographs, those sort of things. So let's start first on the filtering side of the house. Built into our web filter is what I refer to as our early warning detection system. We call that flagged activity. So I'm just doing a quick review of this before we jump into the parental integration piece, because it's a part of that as well. But within the filter, your school administrators or whichever adults you assign have the ability to receive a real-time alert if a child is going to a website that we have categorized as being related to suicide or self-harm. We will also send an alert for a child doing any searches related to suicide or self-harm or violence. And we can also cover Facebook and Twitter with our filter as well. And we're going to look for any Facebook posts or tweets that a child makes if you allow those on the school devices. And again, send a real-time alert to the administrative team that you've selected, letting them know, hey, here's some activity by this child. You might want to take a closer look and see if it's something that needs intervention or needs engagement from an adult. So that early warning system is a really integral part of our filtering solution. It can be customized on your end exactly for what types of alerts you wish to receive. Most of our schools will choose to receive alerts for any flagged sites, searches, or Facebook or Twitter posts. But you can customize that. You don't have to receive any of those alerts at all if you don't want to, or you can receive all of those alerts. Taking it a step further, we have a feature that is included within our filter called the Securely Home app, or the Parent Portal app. This really ties into the idea of supervising kids in the digital environment, where traditionally we have one teacher to however many students in a classroom, or a set hard amount of school administrators, social workers, guidance counselors. Oftentimes, I certainly experienced it anecdotally, the increases in student mental health issues, students being hospitalized for anxiety and depression or suicide attempts, was increasing year after year without an increase in emotional support specialists to serve these students. So leveraging parents, bringing parents into this equation to assist is a really interesting way to not only provide better supervision for students while they're online, but also partnering with parents to allow them to be a first line of intervention or engagement if there are signs of trouble exhibited by their child online. So you have the ability to do that with your Securely filter through this app called Securely Home app. What it does, it's totally free. Like I said, it's included with the filtering. It's free for parents to use. It has several different features, which I'll go over with you, but it essentially allows your parents to see in real time their child's activity on the school-issued device. And so you can choose to show parents what's taking place on the device at school and off campus, or everything in between. You can choose to just show parents what takes place off campus if you're sending devices home, or you can select to just show parents educational sites accessed on campus and then everything that takes place off campus. I'll go over those options a little bit more in just a second, but that activity feed is really the main piece of this parental integration home app. We will also provide flagged activity for parents if you wish. That's customizable by the school, but that same flagged activity that your school admin teams can receive, your parents can receive that specific to their child as well. And then if you send devices home with students, if you have one-to-one that goes home, you can also give parents a level of control over how that device is filtered when it's off campus. So this has been a really respectful offering to say to parents, hey, we send these devices home. We take your child's safety seriously, though, so we're going to filter them. We're going to keep them off the bad stuff. That's really the first step in keeping kids safe. But on top of that, mom and dad, we're going to let you see what they're doing on that device. And hey, if you want to tighten it up or block an additional website or category just while that device is off campus, we can give you the ability to do that as well. So the Home app has the activity feed, which is going to be 30 days worth of data, everything the child has searched, every website they visited, any video they've watched. It's going to have the flagged activity if you choose, which is going to provide parents just an early warning if their child is searching for anything related to suicide, self-harm, or violence, or making any posts that are related to bullying. It will include the rules for take-home devices if you wish, and then it will provide a section for our plug-and-play hub, which is a consumer product that can provide this same functionality to your parents' personally owned devices within their home. The activity feed itself can be customized. So if you send devices home, you can decide what parents see in this. And your choices, again, are all activity, which shows parents what takes place during the school day and what takes place while that device is off campus. Our schools that choose to show all activity, so this includes schools that don't send devices home and schools that do send devices home, but like the kind of added aspect of that supervision piece to be applied throughout the school day. Their approach is often, hey parents, we really want to increase our communication with you, provide robust information within the activity feed. We're proud of what we're doing at school. We want you to be able to engage with your child based on that information. Those schools also like the idea that kids are less likely to get off task and are more likely to stay on track when mom and dad can see what the child is doing throughout the school day. But some of our schools that send devices home say, hey, we love the idea of increasing transparency. We don't want to be that transparent just yet. So we're going to go ahead and start and just say, hey, parents, we've got this covered at school. But mom and dad, if you want to see what's taking place on that Chromebook or that iPad at night when Johnny says, you know, you can't take it from me because I have to study for social studies. Well, now mom and dad, you can log into the app yourself and see if he's actually studying for social studies or watching cat videos for 2 hours, you know? The flagged activity, which I mentioned, is also provided for parents. This is optional, so this is a kind of a default feature of the app, but you can choose to turn this off if you prefer parents not to receive any flagged activity notifications. And we've also recently released push notifications for parents, so they can allow or decline push notifications so that if their child is doing a search or going to a website or engaged in Facebook or Twitter activity that's concerning, they can get a push notification and dig a little bit deeper on their end. And then the final aspect of this feature is specific to if you send devices home, and this is called the rules category. So this is an optional part of this for parents. You do not have to turn this on for parents at all. So actually the default or the first configuration option that this is set to is actually no control. So our schools that send devices home that choose no control, they're in a situation where the community is essentially perfectly happy with how those devices are being filtered off campus. There's not an emergent need to give parents any leeway in how that device is filtered off campus. But we give you 3 other options for this if you would like to give parents some control. Full control is our most liberal option. This is not used very often. I think out of our 850 or so school districts that have rolled this out, we have 1 or 2 that use full control. But that's essentially giving parents just what's pictured here, full autonomy off campus to fully select whether categories that we cover are being allowed or blocked on their student's device. The 2 that I highly recommend choosing from, though, are either restrictive control or custom control. If you offer your parents restrictive control, what that means is when that device is off campus, if the parent wants to tighten up the filtering beyond what you've already set, they want to block something additionally or block a specific website, they could do that. When that device comes back to your campus, we recognize your IP address. Your filtering policies take precedent over what the parents have selected. Or you can choose custom control. With custom control as a school district, you establish which categories are allowed or blocked off campus. And then you can gray them out from parents and say, hey, parents, these are the categories that are set. You can't touch these, but here's a few other categories that we're going to leave available for you to toggle between. So the reason that people choose custom control essentially is if they would like to block something off campus, but philosophically, they're okay if a parent opens it up. They just want them to have to make the decision to do that. So we will often see custom control used for categories like social media, or chat messaging, or personal email, where the parents can go in and unblock that if they wish to. We also have a feature within this app for parents called the Pause Internet feature. So this has been released for Chromebooks currently and is just a week or two away from being released for all other devices. But this gives parents the option to pause the school-issued device when it is off campus. So essentially to set some time limit boundaries at the push of a button. It, again, does not impact the device when it's back on your campus. This is a feature that can be enabled. We just have to do it on our end at your request. So if you're testing this out, or if you've rolled this out already and you say, yep, we want to offer that pause button as part of our trial experience or as our full deployment, you would just let me know and I would turn that on for you. We provide, since this is kind of anytime you involve parents, it's a big deal, right? Whether it's the smallest email communication or offering them a new resource such as this. So communicating it properly to parents, letting them know and prepping them for this is a really important piece of this. We provide a lot of the collateral that you need to do that. So this is a sample of a letter template that we provide to you that you can certainly enhance and improve upon and make better, but it gives you a starting framework to let parents know, hey, this is who Securely is, this is the resource that we're providing for you on this date, and if you're not interested, you can certainly unsubscribe from it. We currently have over 1 million parents that are actively using this app. We broke the 1 million parent mark just a couple of weeks ago. It's a really big milestone for us. And these are parents that have had this provided to them by the school, and they've been told, hey, if you're not interested in this, you can unsubscribe. Our unsubscribe rate from this is 5%, and that's cumulative over the past 2 years. So the feedback that we've received overwhelmingly from parents is that they just appreciate the increased communication from the school and that it gives them peace of mind. Since this was developed, really, everything that Securely has developed as far as leveraging the filtering technology and additional email scanning technology has been developed with a laser focus of keeping kids safe. So I don't want to minimize the impact that this has had for intervening appropriately for kids who have been at risk of taking their own lives or engaging in unhealthy online behavior. But that's still going to statistically be a small percentage of your student population. So for all of your parents, the feedback that we receive overwhelmingly is that they just appreciate having the peace of mind, having another place they can go for actionable information about their child that is relevant and specific to them. We will tie this all together for your parents. When you turn this on for them, we will send them a welcome email that just reiterates what you've already shared with them. Just says, hey, mom and dad, you can go ahead and download the app. It's called Securely Home. And we will also send them a weekly email report to help maintain engagement within this feature itself. So each week, your parents will get a snapshot, just a small sample of what their child has done on the school device. And again, so this doesn't collect dust essentially on their phone. So this is something they're engaging with and supporting the school with. Just for the IT admin side of things, this is all managed through your Securely dashboard in your Parents tab. You have a tab dedicated to this feature, and it's turned on through a CSV upload. So within your Parents dashboard, we have a CSV that is formatted to just pair the parent with the student across a single line with their name and email information. Our schools will export this information from their student information system, and you can either drag and drop it into this enrollment bar, or for a broad rollout, you can set up a secure FTP and just write a script, and this CSV will update itself automatically based on those fields within your SIS. So what most of our schools will do when they're filtering with us is test this out. They'll enter a few, if you have some faculty members that have students in your district or some sample parents that you want to volunteer, they'll just manually enter that information into the CSV, do a drag and drop into the enrollment bar. That will, within a few hours, they'll get that welcome email from Securely, and they can download the app at any time. Once you've uploaded your CSV, you just configure it how you want it. So at the bottom, you decide what you want parents to see, and you have choices of everything, which means at school and off-campus activity. You can say, we're just going to show parents the home activity or off-campus activity and just the educational sites accessed throughout the day. Or we're going to cover it during the school day, but we want parents to share in that responsibility at home. So we're just going to show parents the home activity only. And then for sending devices home, you decide what level of control, if any, you wish to give parents on that device. No control is the default, or I'd recommend choosing something between either restricted control or custom control. So just a quick recap, when we're talking about the internet side of Securely and student safety specifically, we're really looking at early warning, detection, and appropriate supervision for online activity. And we can accomplish that through our flagged activity. So for sites, searches, social media posts on Facebook and Twitter, we're able to identify instances or examples of students who might be contemplating suicide or self-harm or violence to self or others, or engaging in bullying online, and send that real-time alert to the designated administrators of that child's school. And we can also scale that supervision by providing that visibility to parents and letting them see what their child's doing on that device as well. But then we also have the email side of the house, oftentimes provided by the school, which brings its own set of considerations and needs as well. So for that, we have a product called Auditor. Auditor is our cyberbullying, violence, and self-harm detection system that is applied to your students' incoming and outgoing emails, and will also extend into Google Docs and images. So with Auditor, it uses the same technology that we use for our social media, Facebook and Twitter analysis, and that's an emotional sentiment algorithm or a natural language processing algorithm. And what makes this technology unique is that it does not rely on keywords to identify signs of trouble with a student. So this screen is just set to show sort of an example of where a keyword blocker by itself or a keyword alerting system by itself can be really predisposed for a lot of false positives. And we try to minimize those false positives so that those email alerts you're getting for the majority of time are going to be actionable. We certainly are not free of false positives, especially for our searches. They're just sort of part of the deal with any analysis like this. But with our email analysis and our social media analysis, they are greatly minimized because of this this technology. And what it allows is, if you look at the third example down where it says, looks like you lost weight, what are you now, 5,000 pounds? This is a really good example of a sentiment that's highly negative. It's meant to put somebody down, possibly harass somebody, but there's no keyword itself that would have triggered that. The use of the word fat is not explicit in that statement. We're able to identify sentiments such as that. For example, a student saying, I can't take it anymore. This world is too much for me. Tomorrow is my last day. Perhaps that student is referencing the last day at school, but more likely than not, it's sort of an outcry saying they're despondent and need some help. We're able to identify something like that in the absence of keywords and still pass over things like, hey, we're going to kill the Carolina Panthers this weekend. We can understand that that's a reference to a sport. With Auditor, when that is deployed, the same configuration as with the filter, those alerts can go to whichever adults you've designated for that child's school to receive those alerts. Usually, people consider assistant principals and school admin teams first, and then depending on your school staffing, they will extend that to maybe a dean or a head guidance counselor. The idea is, most school districts usually have a process already in place for triaging discipline or attendance issues. This is a nice fit for that system that's already in place. Usually assistant principals, counselors have the student body already divided up and are accountable for a certain portion of that. This fits very nicely into that structure. When you deploy Auditor, you get it in the same interface as your filter dashboard. So you would just have an Auditor tab that is created for you here. This is an old screenshot, so we have since added violence to our categories. And so for anything for grief, self-harm, bullying, violence, we're going to populate that email for you within your dashboard so that you have it. We'll send that real-time alert to whoever you've decided. With the profanity feature, we are not going to send an alert for that, but any items that are profanity in isolation, those will be available for you to view within your Auditor dashboard. Auditor Premium will also extend. I do need to differentiate between our free version of Auditor and our premium version of Auditor. Our free version of Auditor, and that's right, it is absolutely free in its most basic form, will scan all of your incoming and outgoing student email messages, and those alerts can only be sent to just one person. Our premium version, our paid for version of Auditor, allows those alerts to go to a group of adults that you've designated, and will also extend into Google Docs and scan Google Docs, and we're very close to releasing images as well. So attachments to email, images of nudity that are saved into Google Drive, we will be able to scan those as well with our premium version. So you've got the filter side of the house with Securely, the flagged activity, the parental home app. You've got the email side of the house covered with Securely with your Auditor product, the premium version, which can alert to multiple people per school and will extend into Google Docs and images. We also provide a service called 24. So many of our partnering school districts that are using the filter and are using the Auditor and are receiving those alerts say, hey, we really appreciate this increased information. We would just like an extra layer of protection to make sure that none of those instances fall through the cracks. Or we send devices home and we're using your filter and we're using Auditor and we get those alerts and they're valuable and we appreciate them, but our school admin teams are not expected to be monitoring those 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We would like an assurance that if something really critical happens on our school issued device during the off hours on a weekend at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night, we want to be made aware of that. And so that's where our Filter 24 and Auditor 24 service comes into play. So this is an additional resource that can be purchased through Securely. This is live human monitoring by our team of trained analysts for the same flagged activity and alerts that your teams receive through the Filter and the Auditor product. So what that means is if an item is flagged, if you're using Filter, say you're using Auditor and you're also using 24, if a child's activity is flagged, whether it's something they're searching for or an email they've sent or received, our analysts are going to receive that flagged notification the same time your team is. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're going to be putting eyes on that piece of information. But they're not going to just be looking at that piece of information in isolation. Because you're using Auditor to cover email, because you're using the filter to cover the internet activity, our analysts are able, within a matter of minutes, to pull not only that piece of information that was flagged as concerning, but they're able to reference that against all of the other child's activities. So say an email comes in that's concerning. A child says, I'm despondent, I can't take it anymore, tomorrow's my last day. That email is flagged. Our analyst not only looks at that email, but pulls up that child's search history and any websites that child has visited, so they can make a much more accurate decision on if reach out and intervention is needed. Our analysts are extremely well vetted. They have experience in mental health care, in police work, into combating human trafficking, a broad, diverse group of analysts that have been put together to help make the best decisions and help support you to get students the intervention and resources that they need. So a piece of flagged activity, this is just a quick little flow chart of what looks like on our end. When you onboard with 24, part of that onboarding process is you provide us with 2 or 3 adults per school that you would like us to reach out to in priority order in the event of an extreme situation taking place. When that item is flagged, our analysts are going to pull up that item and any other supporting evidence we can pull from our data, including sites, searches, any additional emails, and they're going to run that piece of flagged data through a risk or threat assessment. The items that are considered extreme risk, these are items that are a threat of harm to self or others, that are generally time-bound and imminent. Those items, we are going to reach out to the first person on that emergency contact list you've provided. We're going to reach out to them either via text message or a telephone call, whichever they prefer, until we get an acknowledgement from them. Once they acknowledge that they've received our communication, we will follow up with all of the pertinent and supporting documentation via an email to them within a matter of minutes. Our actual time from a flagged piece of information coming into our system to the time we actually get a hold of somebody on the phone is right around 10 minutes. If we can't get a hold of the first person, we'll move on down the line to the next, up to and including local law enforcement. So this is highly customizable as to who we call and when. So many of our school districts will say, these are the 3 people we want you to call at each school in order, and we want you to reach out to them Monday through Friday during regular school hours or in off hours, all of the same. But you can customize that. We have some school districts that say, hey, throughout the school day, this is who we want you to reach out to, but if it's after hours, we want you to reach out to these people in this order. And some school districts that say, hey, in the off hours on the weekends or after school, we don't want you to notify us at all. We want you to go straight to local law enforcement. So we can do any of those combinations for you so that this communication system is really tailored to meet your needs. We actually have some school districts that use 24 that say, hey, we're going to turn off the flag notifications for our alerts. We're going to rely solely on the 24 team so that we know we're just getting notified for the most extreme risk situations. For anything that's increased risk or lower, we will still follow up with your admin teams or designated adults via email communication, just to say, hey, you probably already saw this, but we don't want it to slip through the cracks. Make sure you take a second look at this. So with the filter, flagged activity, parental integration for supervision. We have Auditor to cover the email side of the house, and that can be extended into Google Docs and very soon images that are sent as attachments and saved. And then you can place 24 live human monitoring by our team to cover all of those alerts over the filter and the Auditor product for email. And then sort of separate, a little a la carte from all of that, we also provide an anonymous tip line if you're interested in that. So this falls under the guidelines of see something, say something. This is a way for students at your school or district to do that anonymously. So our school districts that use Tipline sign up for our tip line. We provide the collateral, which include resources for you to promote to your students and staff where they can report anonymous concerns, whether it's about drugs or bullying or potential violence, anonymously. And they could submit those tips to us via a text message, a telephone call, a web form, or an email. We take those tips in anonymously. We run those tips again through a risk and threat assessment using that same 24 analyst team that covers our flagged and alerted activity for filter and auditor. And they will reach out to you with tips that are imminent, and are credible and threat of harm to self or others. For all other tips, we will pass those along to you via email. So our goal, quite frankly, is to really be a comprehensive digital student safety company that leverages a really good web filter that leverages that technology to provide early warning detection, better communication with parents, technology that can analyze accurately your students' incoming and outgoing Gmails and give you early warnings so that you can use your professional judgment and intervene appropriately. We provide trained specialists to help support you, cover all of that if you wish, and an anonymous tip line service if you would like that as well. So that was a lot of information. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and open it up to any questions that you may have of any and or all of that I just covered with you. And Teresa, I'm going to hand it back to you as well.
Thanks, Greg. So I just put in the chat window for any of those that want to share questions. If you want to get off of mute and start asking questions, we'd like to open it to the floor. And you guys can go ahead. Any questions?
And I will add I'm going to add my email to that chat as well. So especially when it comes to the parental integration piece, my full-time job and the job of the team that I work on is to help you with that. So if that's something, if you're already filtering with us or you're evaluating us at any time, if you'd like some assistance with that, just reach out to me anytime and I'll help you get started with that. So Tipline, one of the first questions, Tipline is an additional cost. I think it's very reasonably priced, but Teresa can get you the information on that. And Auditor, in its most, the second question we had is if we have Securely already, how do we get Auditor turned on? Teresa can assist you with that as well. The free version of Auditor is just a self-install. If you're interested in the Auditor Premium, Teresa can help you with that onboarding. Teresa can help you with that onboarding process as well.
And I will add that the contract is set up in a way that we aggregate tiered pricing statewide. So what we done last year is at the end of the order period, We took those, and I think we ended up at $2.50 a license for anywhere filter at that end of that order period. And so that's what was billed out to school districts. So we'll be doing the same again this year. But we will be starting at a different tier this year. So that's in the marketplace and is available in there. So if you have questions, just reach out to Teresa or myself, and we can help you get you into the marketplace at least.
Yep, thanks. Also, hey, got a question from Nate regarding the classroom management tools. I'm happy to show that real quick. If we have a couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to give you guys a quick intro on that. All right, can everyone see my screen okay? Should see the Securely Chrome Tools one-pager. All right, so with Chrome Tools, Securely is extremely excited about this new offering. We just announced last Monday our acquisition of Tech Labs, which is a K-12 focused company solely focused on driving classroom management and also MDM for the classrooms. Currently, this is going to be a separate tool. The goal will be in the near future to bring this into a fully integrated single pane of glass. But for now, just to give you kind of idea, I wanted to share this with you all, and I will be sharing this with Craig to distribute to attendees, or feel free to include your contact information in the chat window so that we can share this information with you. But what Chrome Tools does effectively is obviously allowing control over a Chromebook classroom. This will help kind of keep students on task, including heads up, as well as seeing screens, multiple screens, and as well as sending out notifications to those students that maybe are not paying attention, kind of get an entirely holistic view of the classroom, and allow for hand-raising opportunities as well. Additionally, what we're doing there is part of the power of this classroom management tool is that it's very seamless to integrate and install. Quite frankly, it takes just a couple of minutes to integrate and get it going and fully configured for our teachers' classrooms. Obviously, falls in line with Google Classroom along with your GAP integration. So we identify via OU and those classrooms, those teachers can quite quickly get their classrooms up and running for that fully holistic view. Additionally, the teachers can authorize a site lock. They can open up sites for their classrooms. And we also have a parent portal option for you as well. We can also allow our teachers to have a look holistically at the browsing history. And then we also include what we call our Find My Chromebook. So this will help locate those devices. So for instance, those that have maybe a one-to-one initiative or devices are getting outside of the classroom, we can actually not only locate them, but in real time lock them with a custom message as well. So happy to share this information with you. We just launched this, and for those, I'm really curious on those who are utilizing a classroom management tool today, what you might be looking for in a classroom management solution, what you are liking, and any challenges that you're having with that. So let me know if you'd like to get some more information. Happy to share that with you. There's a question from Tina. Is Google Classroom required to run Chrome Tools? Tina, today, yes, that is correct. Today, this is a solution for Chromebooks, and I will keep you apprised if there is future development for other devices for the Chrome Tools. And then Greg had another question. Yes, okay, thank you, Greg. Greg answered my question. Are there any other questions on Chrome Tools for now? Just for you guys to be aware, we do have a trial option. If you want to check it out for a couple of weeks, we're happy to share that free trial with you to get your feedback on that tool.
Any other questions from the group then? If not, if you need Teresa's contact information, it is available in the marketplace also. If you just click on the Securely logo, it'll pull up in the upper or lower right-hand corner her contact information, so that's available there too.
Yeah, thank you. And for the team, for awareness, what Securely is doing is we are providing twice a week. I think I'm still waiting, and Anthony or Vin, please speak up on this if you have some specifics, but we are providing a webinar for our prospects and clients on Chromebooks or the Chrome tools, and then an additional webinar for MDM separately once a week for each. So effectively 2 webinars, one focused on MDM and the other one focused on Chrome tools. And as soon as that information is ready, we'd love to share that with you, or feel free to reach out and we'll do a customized demonstration with you guys. Thanks, Vin. Vin just included the event for the webinars into the chat window if you are interested.
All right, hearing no more questions, I believe if you don't have any more questions, we're done probably for the day. Unless you'd like to see how you actually get into the marketplace and find Securely there, I could provide a very quick demo, but otherwise, I think we'd like to thank Teresa and Greg for sharing the opportunity to look at Securely again and the renewal process for this year.
Thank you everyone for your time. Have a great